But it's amazing how often people let things. There are a lot of creators who seemingly do similar things in incredibly potent different ways. Daniel Thrasher, Seth Everman, both incredibly funny men who play the piano for their content, generally speaking. They both are way more diverse than that, but you know what I'm saying. They're great examples of like, there's so much room at the table. Give me 100 more guys who are sitting in front of their pianos and being hilarious. We love it, you know, and there's a lot of whimsical guys on the internet exploring haunted places.
How do you know what your audience is going to like? Like what goes into that? Because obviously you want to give them a break. You want to make it so they have a chuckle or laugh. But like, how do you calculate that?
You know, I like it. Calculate, Ricky. That's an interesting insight into Ricky. How do you calculate?
I'm sorry. I'm a nerd.
No. I like it.
I'm a socially awkward nerd.
No,
you're
not
only have
socially.
a few thousand followers.
No one with that mustache is socially awkward. You own rooms you walk into, pal. No, you know what you're doing. It's incredible. No, you know what? How do I calculate? I will answer. How do I calculate? I honestly, it's funny because it's all around me. My answer to that question is like all around my environment. So if I am one thing on the internet that I'm certain of, it's like whimsical. And there are many words that are misunderstood. But all I'm trying to do on the internet is represent curiosity and stuff. Like, that's the kind of hidden agenda behind everything I do, you know? It's not like whatever it is. It's I'm not trying to show people that there's proof in ghosts when I make scary stuff. I'm not trying to I'm just trying to remind people that it's cool to explore stuff you're interested in. If there's a formula to my videos, I can expose it. It's quite literally like, I've always wanted to do this entire thing my whole life. For instance, I have an example within arm's reach. So when I was a kid, I always wanted to try this cereal, Spider-Man cereal that was like a Kellogg cereal, and my mom never got it for me. So for 20-something years, it was in my head that like I always wanted to try this cereal and never got it. So I found it on eBay, and it's a box of cereal from 2002, and I like ate it for a video. Like I ate a box of cereal from 2002. Haha, like it's funny, it's clickable,
Wow.
right? Yeah, and it was great. It tasted the same as it probably did in 2002. But point is like, yes, I get it. That seems like a fun, silly video title. But at the end of the day, all I did was tap into a legit curiosity of mine, something I wanted, something that was real, something that was in my head. And that's all I ever do in my YouTube videos. And the only way I can do that is to actually facilitate curiosity and let it have avenues in my life. Because a lot of people in this city, like I went to a comedy show with a friend last night that was incredible, and it was like pulling teeth to try to get this friend to come with me, who's also an online person. And it was really interesting because it was just like, hey, step away. This is good. It's a one-man show. It's going to feed you, actually. It's going to inspire you, you know? And it's funny because once I actually convinced him to come with me, it was like, I can't believe there was a world where I wasn't going to do this. I wasn't going to come with you to this show. It's like, yeah. Isn't it funny how our minds are just like self-sabotaging all the time? No, you got to stay in. You got to be in the dark. You got to be in your cave. You got to be editing. No new things. It's like, no, you got to let new things in, even if it's in the form of a box of cereal from 2002 or walking into a haunted hospital and exploring it, you know? So when you ask, you know, how do you calculate what people are into? I don't make that my business. I calculate what I'm into, and I hope that people are along for the ride. and I try to put as much imagination as humanly possible into that curiosity, of course, because I understand at the end of the day, I'm making things for other people, not, you know, for myself to a degree, but it is forward facing, and I want to give them a thrilling roller coaster ride of an experience. So that's the combination right there. I just pump it full of curiosity, and every time I upload, I'm just like, I think this is the last one and no one's going to care anymore. I'm just like there's no way they're going to be down for like this, you know, guy, just like this grown man being so like out of control. But I think there's going to be, I want to go on and on and on. I just think there's going to be so much more room for like something I think about all the time is people aging on the internet as well, because
it's already happening.
It's incredible because old people, as you and I knew them as kids, they're gone. They're not making pies anymore. Like, they're not, like, they are so, I'm not going to go on all that. I'm just going to say it is interesting thinking about, like, I think Rhett and Link is an incredible example. Like, guys who are aging I'm an example. People who are aging online who have always been online. And I do think that the stigma of age is going to go away because we were all brought up online, and yes, you see the silly little TikToks of like millennials versus Gen Z. I have no tolerance for that content, by the way.
I'm with you.
Little sassy aside there, that just seems like some odd, out of touch person like trying to get clicks with that. I hate that stuff. There's not many things I hate, but I'm not into that weird content.
I also hate the assumption that baby boomers aren't on the internet, or that they're not consuming content, or they're not making content. And so let me give you a couple of examples. Paul McCartney, the Beach Boys, a lot of old school jazz drummers or jazz artists. Like there's pockets and communities of all age groups connecting and consuming content and making content.
Man, it makes you wonder what some of the greats would have been doing on TikTok. Like, what would Nina Simone and like Elvis be doing on TikTok if they were still around? Wow, no, that's
they'd
interesting.
Be making trends. They'd be like doing hopefully things for the first time that others aren't doing. And it'd probably have a much bigger ripple effect today, where maybe more people would be more understanding, empathetic, and inclusive as a result of it than having a lot of controversy through one central medium.
What a nice thing to say. There is so much room at the table. That's the other thing that people forget sometimes is like, there are video ideas that I've done that there's 20 video ideas like that on the internet. Staying in a Japanese capsule hotel, I did for a video once. And I had a friend when I brought that up before I shot it. Oh, what are you going to shoot for this? Oh, I'm going to do this video. They said, oh, just so you know, I already saw that. I was like, not by me, you haven't. You know what I mean? Because
some of the greatest do that. I mean, they see inspiration and they're like, well, I want to experience that too and share that with my community. And there's nothing bad about that. That's actually really cool. It's showing self-expression of a different perspective.
Oh yeah, and when I say that the content could have been more different, I mean the one that they were referring to was a very like educational video almost. It was like this, like, no, I'm gonna be this weird curiosity monster and going into things. But it's amazing how often people let things. There are a lot of creators who seemingly do similar things in incredibly potent different ways. Daniel Thrasher, Seth Everman, both incredibly funny men who play the piano for their content, generally speaking. They both are way more diverse than that, but you know what I'm saying. They're great examples of like, there's so much room at the table. Give me 100 more guys who are sitting in front of their pianos and being hilarious. We love it, and there's 25 more I could probably think of if I pulled out a piece of paper right now who do this stuff. There's a lot of whimsical guys on the internet exploring all the places.
There might be thousands.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what? Like, because, creators sometimes say 90% of the time no to like brand collaborations. We had to create a tool to figure out what other creators out there had similar aesthetics to the creator that a brand really wanted to work with. And so let's say if they really wanted Casey Neistat. But Casey Neistat just wasn't interested in, let's say, a certain brand of toothpicks or toothbrush or whatever. What you can then do is like look at Casey Neistat and then generate other creators that both have a similar audience and audience overlap, but also they have similar aesthetics and similar editing style. And what you'll find is that there's a huge vertical out there that people are probably not even realizing, of like hundreds or even thousands of creators that are actually very similar in a lot of different ways.
That is so interesting. I love
that. And they probably don't know each other.
They probably don't know each other. There's people that I'm friends with on the internet just because people have spiritually tethered us together. Like this guy, Ethan Nestor. His name is Crank Gameplays Online. Okay. He is just that. There's people that I know in real life because people just constantly were like, "You have Ethan's energy," or to Ethan, "You have Garrett's energy." And like at a certain point, there's a guy named Ghost Honey online who's really great. He's like, his name is Tyler. There's like, you're like, oh, I guess we'll just hang out now if we're so similar. Yeah.
But it's funny that you say that. I feel like I'm like doing a self-promotion on this podcast, but it's really supposed to be about you.
No, I love it, dude. You're interesting.
So like creators can really see who's similar out there like them.
Yeah.
So, like they can be friends and hang out or like collaborate.
The community of it is huge because isolation is a monstrous thing. It's a beast that every creator has to face.
You can't be an island or you're going to feel alone.
You're going to feel alone.
And you're going to have limitations with that as well.
Exactly. And I have to remember, sometimes I speak as though everything applies to like the creator economy or the woes of a creator. I'm like, dude, check yourself. This applies to everyone listening right now. This applies to everyone. There are so many interesting things in this realm. Ricky, it's so fun talking to you. I love this. Yeah, man, this is wild. It's every time I think about it, I'm like, whoa, this is a vast ocean. And I'm always just like on my little beach with my sandcastle with like the waves just kind of hitting my feet of like the ocean of this topic. It's like,
There's 200 million self-proclaimed content creators right now. And I believe in the next 5 years, there's going to be over 1 billion. And I've talked to investors and like analysts about this, and people usually laugh at this. But the truth is, I mean, how many humans are there?
6 billion.
6 billion, 6 to 7 billion. How many cities are not represented? How many towns are not represented? I mean, there's gonna be hundreds of millions of more people creating content because technology is gonna be easier to do it. I mean, it's gonna be cheaper to have a nice camera or a phone.
Yeah.
And I really do believe that we're in the era of the artist,